Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. We are from the Faculty of Education at Universidad Santo Tomás, currently enrolled in the master's program in bilingual learning environment. In this video, we will share with you the key insights of our thesis, which addresses a crucial and emerging topic, the analysis of perception of neurodivergent students within a neurotypical bilingual environment. Our study was conducted in a private rural institution located in the city of Neiva, Colombia. Today's agenda entails firstly the introduction, followed by the research question. Next, we will present the literature review, then move on the methodology, where we will discuss the data analysis and findings. And finally, we will conclude with a summary of conclusions, limitations, and recommendations.
Education is a cornerstone of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, empowering individuals and promoting success. In Colombia, the Ministry of National Education has implemented strategies for inclusive education, outlined in Resolution 2565 of 2003. Despite this, NOIA 2023 highlights ongoing challenges such as insufficient training and infrastructure, which hinder meaningful inclusion of neurodivergent students in schools. This study examines the perceptions of neurodivergent and neurotypical students from a rural private school in Neiva. While neurodiversity, as defined by Harvard University, recognizes diverse ways of thinking and interacting with the world, this school lacks structured strategies or curricula for neurodivergent students. Teacher training is voluntary and limited, often driven by parental concerns rather than institutional policies, reflecting a significant gap in support for inclusive education.
Thank you, Alejandro, for all the information. In regards to the research question, we are going to start mentioning, and then we are going to explain why. So, the research question is, what are the perceptions of neurodivergent students within a neurotypical bilingual environment? In regards to this question, we mentioned the bilingual learning environment because our target students, in this case, the neurodivergent students, they are immersed with the language as they study at a bilingual private school. So that's why we wanted to analyze or perceive the dynamic in this bilingual learning environment in when we have neurotypical and neurodivergent students. So as to continue, we're going to talk about the objectives. So we're going to start with the general objective, which is explore the perceptions of neurodivergent students within a neurotypical bilingual learning environment. In this order of ideas, we have three specific objectives. The first one is to identify the barriers faced by neurodivergent students in a neurotypical learning environment. The second one we have is assess the coping mechanisms employed by neurodivergent students to overcome the barriers, of course, the ones that we were talking about before with these two different type of students immersed in the same classroom, overall in an English environment all the time. And as the third and last one, we have proposed practical recommendations aimed to enhancing the inclusion and academic performance of neurodivergent students in a neurotypical learning environment. So after figuring out what is going on in these learning environments, in these mixed learning environments, we are going to propose some practical recommendations that the school and the classroom in general could apply in order to include, like for real, the neurodivergent students in the learning environment, of course. To continue with, we're going to start with the literature review, and for this one we use 6 concepts that we're going to be developing a little bit more throughout this part. So the first one is the concept of neurodivergent students or neurodivergent individuals overall, and we have that this is a variation, a natural variation in cognitive functioning rather than a condition that needs to be fixed. This was set by CAP 2020. So in this order of ideas, we don't need to fix them, we just need to support them and we just need to assist them taking into account their special needs. We're going to continue with the autism spectrum disorder, and we have that this is a neurodevelopmental disorder that manifests in childhood and persists through all the life. This is characterized by social communication difficulties and different ways to react to the environment and the perceptions they have in regards to this. We're going to continue with the Colombia ASD laws. And we have that Law 1618 of 2013 mandates the inclusion in public and private schools so as to guarantee the right education for all these students, taking into account, of course, the inclusion. Now we're going to continue with the neurotypical learning environment. So in Colombia, we have many neurotypical environment. This is the most common one where we have students with all the normal in brackets conditions to learn at a normal pace. So this is something that we really uh, find in our education system here. Now we're going to continue with the teacher's role in a neurotypical learning environment, and in this part we suggest that there is a lack of training, a lack of resources, and lack of awareness in regards to the inclusion of the students, because we normally see that most public and private schools they include them. Of course, they are present in the classroom, but we don't take into account carrying out different activities. We don't include them with the others. We just try to apply some different strategies to them, and this sets them apart from the classroom in general. This was basically taken from Rodriguez and Paris 2020, in where we set up all the struggle our teachers have to carry out classroom with mixed students, neurotypical and neurodivergent students. And we're going to finish with the conception of perception, with the concept of perception and its use in an educative context. So, according to Hindi Berge 2022, the perception is defined as the process by which individuals organize and interpret felt impressions in order to understand the environment. So each person have a different perception of the learning environment, taking into account many different things that interfere and deform the learning environment in general.
This study uses qualitative methodology, ideal for examining the personal and subjective experiences of neurodivergent students within a predominantly neurotypical educational environment, this according to Crosswell 2013. Unlike quantitative methods, this approach provides deeper insights into students' lived experiences, including the challenges they face, their adaptation strategies, and the perceptions of inclusion. By centering the voices of neurodivergent students, the research explores how they navigate systems that have not been designed for them, not for their needs, and identify factors that influence their learning and emotional experiences. These insights aim to inform practices and policies that promote a more inclusive educational environment tailored to diverse learning requirements. This study employs a multiple case study design, a qualitative approach described by Jean 2018, which is ideal for analyzing complex phenomena in real-life context. This design involves three stages: in-depth analysis of each student's unique experiences, pattern identification, uncovering similarities and differences in their interactions with neurotypical students, practical recommendations for improving inclusion practices based on these insights. Although the sample size is small, the approach provides rich context-specific understanding, enabling evidence-based strategies to create more inclusive learning environments for neurodivergent beings. Participants. We focused on three neurodivergent elementary students, each with unique characteristics. The first, a 10-year-old with Down syndrome who enjoys creative activities but faces challenges in attention and fine motor tasks. Her family emphasizes the need for support in enhancing her focus and attention. The second, Jeronimo, a 10-year-old with autism who responds well to structured routines and positive reinforcements, but requires guidance to manage sensory sensitivities and interactions. Finally, Santiago, a 12-year-old with autism who displays strong rapport building skills but needs accommodations for sensory sensitivities and support in social settings. Additionally, three teachers participated in the study. Jimena Montalegre, a science teacher with 5 years of experience who brings depth of knowledge and familiarity with the institutional policies. Jenny Gisette Garcia, math teacher for 2 years who innovates with fresh perspective to engage the diverse learners. And Daniela Cachaya, an English teacher with 2 years of experience who demonstrates enthusiasm for inclusive practices and adapts lessons to support neurodivergent students. Their combined insights offer a comprehensive understanding of how neurodivergent students navigate neurotypical learning environments.
Instruments. We used three main instruments during this study. The first one were semi-structured interviews. As Criswell says in 2013, this instrument allows flexible approach to data collection, enabling the opportunity to ask open-ended questions and also to go further based on the student's answers. The second one was observation. As Jean in 2018 said, this is a key method in qualitative research as it provides a real-time, rich perspective on how participants behave in natural settings. And finally, we use surveys, as Brown in 2011 and Criswell also in 2014 said. Surveys provide a structured way to gather additional perspectives from the students.
In regards to data analysis, we involve a structured approach to ensure relevance and clarity. As we have been saying throughout all this presentation, we have three core students, Maria Jose, Santiago, and Jeronimo. Of course, all of them with a neurodivergent profile. That was the one that we wanted to work with. And to them, we apply a survey in which we ask them about the different perceptions in regards their teachers, their classmates, and the environment in general, how they perceive, how they feel about it. We also apply some interview. This is the appendix A, in where we ask some teachers about how they feel in regards the fact that they have neurodivergent students in their classroom. So we ask them about the pedagogical aspects, the behavioral aspects, and the support they have from school in order to train themselves to apply or to carry out their pedagogical practices with them included. And we finish with an observation that we did in where we just write a semi-structured observation in where we just write some specific information from the learning environment we were working with. In this case, as we have been saying, a bilingual learning environment due to the fact that the target students, the core students, they are at a private bilingual school. Okay, so as a result of this data analysis, we have that students and teachers they believe that they should have more training and to raise more awareness about the real meaning of inclusion or inclusive practices in the classroom. So they need to be trained, they need to have the resources, and they need to have the support from the school and community in general.
Through the analysis of the instruments and primarily because of the observations, we identify recurring patterns, which group into the following three categories. The first one, obstacles to communication and language. Communication and language play a pivotal role on how students engage with peers and teachers, making them essential in bilingual learning environments. Santiago illustrates the benefits of his Spanish proficiency to support English learning, aligning with the Cummings 2000 The Theory of Linguistic Interdependence. In contrast, Maria Jose and Jerónimo rarely rely on nonverbal communication, highlighting the needs for inclusive strategies like multimodal approaches and alternative communication methods, as it is emphasized by Tabor's in 2008. These findings underscore the importance of fostering both verbal and nonverbal communication to create a supportive, inclusive environment where students of all the abilities can thrive socially and academically. The second category was the impact of behavior on learning and interaction. Behavior and conduct play a critical role in students' learning and classroom interactions. Observations highlight the need to understand individual behavioral patterns and their impact on the learning experiences. For instance, Geronimo benefits from an structured environment to manage sensory understandings, reflecting Messington and Chia's 2010. The emphasis on personalized interactions for students with ASD. Similar to Maria Jose, that trips to predictable settings, aligning with positive behavioral interactions and supports, as Gonzalez in 2015 demonstrates the efficiency in enhancing behavior and academic performance. These findings, supported by Lopez 2012 and the UNESCO's 2030 goals, underscore the importance of culturally responsive, evidence-based strategies to create inclusive and supportive learning environments that promote academic success and social engagement. And the third category, a flexible support in the language learning environment. Adaptations and support are essential for addressing the diverse needs of students in bilingual classrooms. Observations reveal the importance of curriculum adjustment tailored to individual strengths and interests, as demonstrated by Santiago, aligning with the universal design for learning principles. Visual supports, such as picture cues, enhance Maria Jose's participation, validating the research by Martinez in 2013 on the efficiency of visual aids for neurodivergent students. Similar to Geronimo, benefits from the visual and technological tools, reflecting Messinger and Shia's 2010 findings on supporting students with ASD and Ramirez 2016 work on technology in special education. These strategies not only promote engagement, but also ensure inclusivity and academic success. Practical strategies for improving inclusion. First, project-based learning. Using the findings from the surveys, it can be inferred that neurodivergent individuals rarely participate in group work or role-based activities. This limits the development of interpersonal and social skills with their peers, and also it has opportunities to raise awareness among the neurotypical individuals about the importance of inclusion and the need to approach this population in a different, supportive manner. Second, teacher inclusion training to support neurodiversity. The implementation of continuous training programs for teachers focus on the inclusive pedagogies that address cognitive diversity and the specific needs of neurodivergent students would enhance the integration into educational and social environments. This will be a foster positive impact and greater acceptance of differences within this population. Promoting an school culture of inclusion highlights a significant lack of communication and support for the families of this type of population. This issue is critical. A collaborative relationship between the schools and family is essential to ensure the inclusive environments and promote comprehensive development of students.
The study found that neurodivergent students felt partially included in classroom activities. While some appreciated accommodations like visual aids and structured routines, they faced challenges in communication and forming connections with neurotypical peers. Teachers expressed motivation to support inclusion, but often felt unprepared due to limited training in addressing diverse needs. Communication barriers were common, with students relying on nonverbal methods like gestures and visual cues, but the lack of universally adapted strategies led to misunderstandings. Sensory sensitivities and difficulty with transitions also created participation challenges. Key trends included a strong reliance on structured routines and visual aids, as well as sensory sensitivities to noise and lights. These findings emphasize the need for sensory-friendly, predictable environments and better teacher training to support neurodivergent students effectively. The findings highlight key implications for educational practice. First, teacher training is essential with a focus on equipping educators to identify and address diverse needs for neurodivergent needs through assistive technologies, differentiated instruction, and behavioral management, this according to Criswell 2013. Curriculum adaptations are also necessary, including the integration of visual supports, project-based learning, and flexible assessment. Additionally, embedding a social emotional learning can help students develop vital interpersonal skills and confidence. And finally, personalized supports such as sensory-friendly seating in predictable routines or quiet spaces are crucial for enhancing classroom experience for neurodivergent students. These accommodations not only help students, but also foster a more inclusive environment for all learners. Suggestions. Future research should focus on several key areas to improve inclusive education. First, the studies on teacher training programs should examine the long-term effects of professional development on the teacher's ability to implement inclusive practices and improve students' outcomes. Research on institutional policies is also vital, particularly regarding the effectiveness of sensory-friendly classroom designs, adaptive technologies, and flexible curricula in supporting educational reforms. Further studies should explore family and professional collaboration, emphasizing how partnerships between educators, families, and specialists, like psychologists, can enhance neurodivergent students' academic and emotional well-being. Finally, impact studies should investigate the long-term emotional and social effects of inclusive education on neurodivergent students across various school settings, helping refine inclusion strategies.